Welcome to this deep dive. Today, our stack of sources centers on a really gripping 2026 Supreme Court judgment. It's Binay Kumar Singh v. State of Jharkhand. And our mission today is to analyze what is basically a terrifying cat and mouse game between the massive machinery of the state and, well, just a single citizen.
It really is a nightmare scenario.
Right. I mean, imagine this for a second. You fight a brutal, exhausting legal battle. You finally secure bail from the highest court in the land. You think, I'm going home.
But you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you walk toward the prison gates, the authorities are waiting. They immediately rearrest you on these quote-unquote secret FIRs, initial police complaints that were filed days prior, purely to keep you locked up.
Which is exactly what happened here. Binay Kumar Singh was arrested in May 2025 over what is essentially a mutation dispute, basically a bureaucratic argument over updating official land records.
But the truly alarming part is the timeline, right? Because this dispute was from 2010.
Right. A 15-year-old case suddenly resurrected.
Which just sounds incredibly suspicious right off the bat.
And the Supreme Court thought so too. After a long battle, they finally granted him interim bail on December 17, 2025. But the state of Jharkhand simply didn't release him. They kept him detained, using 2 hidden FIRs they had quietly registered back in November.
I mean, that's a blatant attack on Article 21. We all know personal liberty is paramount. But seeing it dangled and then just snatched away, it really shows how fragile that right can be when the state weaponizes the legal process.
Absolutely.
So legally, how did the Supreme Court actually respond to this kind of loophole? Because usually if you get hit with new charges, don't you have to start at the bottom, like at the trial court?
You had to peel your way up, yeah.
Exactly. How did BR jump straight back to the Supreme Court?
Well, he used Article 32 of the Constitution.
The heart and soul.
Yes. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar famously called it the heart and soul of the Constitution for a very good reason. It is designed exactly for this. So citizens can directly petition the Supreme Court when the state acts with malified or bad faith intent to circumvent fundamental rights.
The state must have fought back against that, though. Did they try to argue he belonged in the lower courts?
They vigorously argued that Binay should be sent back to the trial courts. But the Supreme Court essentially ruled that procedural hierarchies just don't matter when the state is actively mocking a citizen's liberty.
Because the judges were genuinely aghast at the sheer deception involved.
Right. The state had completely hidden those new November FIRs from the Supreme Court during the initial December bail hearing. Combine that non-disclosure with the absurd 15-year delay in filing the charges in the first place, and it painted a picture of bad faith that the court simply refused to tolerate.
I'm stuck on one thing, though. The state claimed they kept him detained because he wasn't cooperating with their investigation. How does a court even measure cooperation in a situation where the accused is just trying to survive the legal ringer?
The crucial insight here is the weaponization of the word cooperation. The prosecution often tries to blur the line between assisting in investigation and self-incrimination.
So they demand a confession.
Exactly. But the court laid down a golden rule here, firmly stating that cooperating with an investigation does absolutely not mean an accused must confess to a crime just to suit the prosecution's convenience.
What a fierce protection of the right to silence. They basically said the police can't force you to write your own guilty verdict under the guise of being helpful.
That is the crux of it. The court saw right through the tactic. By demanding a confession as proof of cooperation, the state was essentially trying to bypass the constitutional right against self-incrimination.
So after calling out all these manipulative tactics, the Supreme Court ultimately granted bail and put a hard stop to the vindictive arrests. They made his interim bail absolute. It's a massive win.
It validates the Supreme Court's role as the ultimate guardian against state overreach. And whether you are looking at this from a basic civil rights perspective or analyzing the legal strategy behind it, the takeaways for you are clear.
Right. For the general public, the police cannot force a confession by demanding cooperation.
And furthermore, a pattern of remarkably well-timed new arrests is a glaring red flag. It justifies seeking higher legal intervention, specifically using Article 32 for bail during a gross abusive process.
It also highlights the absolute necessity for prosecutorial disclosure. You can't just hide documents from the highest court. But it leaves us with one final provocative thought to mull over.
A big one.
If state machinery can so easily generate these revenge FIRs to bypass a Supreme Court order, what systemic consequences should exist for the specific officials who sign off on that bad faith paperwork? Something to think about. Until next time.